Hello, my name is N0tail from Fnatic EU Dota. Today I'll be bringing you a guide on Meepo. Today we'll be talking about hopefully every aspect from the hero, from items to lanes to pretty much everything. So I hope you enjoy. Meepo is an agility hero. He has very good starting stats. On the other hand, he has very low stats gain. It starts with very low damage, has medium movement speed, but very high armor. Another thing he has going for him is the night and day vision, which is always 1800, and it's very high compared to other heroes. Moving on to Meepo's first ability, Earthbind. It's a 2-second duration in snare. It's an AoE ability, so you have to try and land it. It starts on 500 range first level, 20-second cooldown, and that's the only things which will change leveling it. The cooldown and the range you can cast it. The spell has some properties. It will prevent people from blinking using blink daggers. You won't actually hit invis units with it if you can't see them, but you can prevent someone from going invis if you hit them before. And you can also cancel channeling spells by hitting it, but they can actually channel spells through it, so you'd either have to wait for the duration to wear out and try and reapply it, or the channeling spell will just keep going. Meepo's second ability, Poof, is a really strong spell. If it wasn't for this spell, Meepo wouldn't be the hero he is. The mana cost of it is a steady 80 at all levels. Radius is also set at 375, and the spell will deal damage at both departure and arrival location. But most importantly is that you're poofing from one Meepo to another Meepo, which means that if one Meepo is on one side of the map, the other is on the other, it doesn't matter, you can always poof to it. Another fun fact is you can also use it on illusions, so if you choose to go for a Manta where you get lucky with an illusion rune, you could also use that to your advantage. The thing is that the spell will deal so much damage once you get a few Meepos up that you can use it for farming, pushing lanes really efficiently, or if you set up a really good situation for it, you can deal a massive amount of damage in the teamfight. Geostrike is a passive ability which deals magic damage and slows over 2 seconds. It will stack directly from any Meepo or any clone individually on the target, and it doesn't interfere with buff placers or orb effects. Meepo's fourth and final ability, Divided We Stand, is a very interesting ability in my opinion. It gives him one clone for every time you level it up, which has the same 3 first abilities as the main one, same levels, it has individual HP and individual mana pool, and it also has individual cooldowns. If one of the clones or the main Meepo were to die, they're all gonna die the same way as any other hero would. Now the Meepo clones do have one item slot, but the item slot's for boots only, and those boots depend on what kind of boost your main Meepo has. Tranquil boots, face boots and travel boots will all have an individual effect on each Meepo clone, meaning that you'd have to use it on each clone to get the effect. But for arcane boost it can only be activated by the main one, but the others will still get the mana stats. The Meepo clones have the same base stats as the main Meepo. They do get an additional 30% stat share up until you get an Aghanim. Once you get the Aghanim, it's gonna be 100% stat share. So the Meepo clones also get individual experience, meaning that if you for instance had 3 Meepos in a lane and 1 ally join, the Meepo will get 75% experience. If the Meepo clones were separated from the main Meepo farming forest, you would be getting all the experience to the main Meepo. Talking about runes, only the main Meepo is able to pick them up. If you were to get in range of a rune with a Meepo clone, you'd either have to destroy it or poof it with a real Meepo to pick it up. Only one rune in the game can affect all the Meepos, and that's double damage. For this to work, you'd have to be within 500 units of the main Meepo with all your clones if you want them to receive it. All the other runes work as usual. If you pick up an illusion rune with a real Meepo, you're gonna get 2 illusions of your main Meepo, which you can then poof to with others of your choice. All the other runes work by default. Moving on to skill builds. I will show you my full level 1 to 16 skill build and explain to you why I skill certain things in certain situations. So the first skill point you have can be really crucial to how the lane's gonna turn out. If you're alone, there's not really much point in getting net almost ever. So getting 1 level in poof for maybe last hitting or harassment purposes might be the best choice. If you're with someone, leveling net once is usually always the way to go, because they give you so much more kill potential. Now at level 5 I would suggest that you had 2 nets and 3 levels in poof most of the time, but there are some cases where leveling Geostrike once might do you a lot of good. Once you hit level 7, I would strongly suggest that you always have poof maxed out, because it makes you able to one-shot a creep wave at that point, and it makes you able to farm so much faster. After level 7, I would say that Geostrike is almost always better to get fast before you hit level 11, but sometimes you can be forced to max out the net. Let's go on to item builds. I usually always start with a salve, 2 tangos and a ring of protection when I go side lane. You can always acquire what you need with those base items in the side shop. Now if you're going middle instead with a Meepo, I would suggest that you get a stout shield, because there's no shop there nearby where you can acquire that, and it's really important to have a stout shield with high base armor to prevent yourself from getting pushed off a lane or taking too much damage. In the early stages of the game, I often find myself with the same items on Meepo, and those items are almost all the time Poorman's Shield, Tranquil Boots, Sage's Mask, and a TP. Now the Sage's Mask is so that you can split your Tranquil Boots and acquire a Bassi if you see an open lane to push, and the TP is so you can always get back with 1 or 2 Meepos and heal up. If you have decent to good farm, the item you usually want to be working at is an Aghanim. Once you get the Aghanim, you'll have so much more map presence, so many more ways to gain XP and farm. On top of that, any item you get afterwards will boost you so much more than before you had an Aghanim. Once you got your Aghanim, it's really important to think about what item to get next. If you see a lot of options where you can kill people or pick them off alone, Blink Dagger is almost always the right way to go. If you choose to go for the Blink Dagger, know that it might not be so easy in the start, but with a lot of practice you can get really strong and successful ganks out with it. If you want to try some more unconventional Meepo items, or more rarely seen Meepo items, I would suggest some items like Drums of Endurance, Ethereal Blade, even a Vlad's before the game gets too late. Those items can be really good in certain situations. Okay, moving on to endgame. Before you hit level 6, there's not many things you can really do with Meepo. You can just do as good as you can in the lane, try to get some farm, maybe you can set up kills with your ensnare, but other than that, you should just focus on getting your level 6 really fast. Once you hit level 6, you have so many more options of what to do. You can either choose to move into the forest, try to get some more farm that way while keeping one on the lane, try to set up kills, or you can get Bastion in the main one, and since you have 2 Meepos, a double poof will one-shot or almost one-shot the Kree wave, so you also have the option to push anywhere really fast. Now once you hit level 11, that's when things usually go really fast, because by that time you can easily have your Aghanim, and if you don't, you can farm it really fast. So you can have up to 4 Meepos at that point, where you can then choose to either pressure the lanes like crazy, try to set up kills anywhere in the map anytime you want to, or simply just try to get a good poof combo off and in that way win a team fight. The next big step is getting level 16. Once you have level 16, you can be anywhere in the map at the same time as you're farming. If you're anywhere in the map and you see someone alone, you can get there with a real Meepo and say you have a blink, you can jump him. If you then jump him with all your clones, you're gonna have 5 different Meepos slowing with 20%. That just simply means that they're not gonna be moving more than 100 movement speed. So you can solo kill any hero on the map at that point. Not only do you have so much map presence while farming, you're also such a threat in teamfights. If they don't drop you, you're able to deal so much damage, and if you win that teamfight, you're gonna get the majority of the XP, making you able to snowball even harder. Now there are different ways to play Meepo, but one way I really prefer is having somewhat early Blink Dagger. If you can get that, you can position all your Meepos around a hero, being able to hit right from the start, leaving them with very little time to react to it. All you need is a few seconds on almost any hero and that hero's gonna die. But keep in mind, the Blink Dagger thing is a very hard thing to learn, at least it was for me. First of all, I tried different groups, so I started going with number 1 for main Meepo, number 2 had the second 2/5 Meepo in the second control group, number 3 had 3, number 4 had 4, number 5 had 5. So this means that I could click 2 and I would have all my other Meepos selected besides the main one, and then I could W into tab really fast and in that way get the Blink Dagger combo off successfully. Now, the hardest thing about this whole Blink Dagger routine is working on your W-tab combo, or call it whatever you want to. Once you get that really fast, you're going to be left alone with some time to think about when you want to blink and where you want to blink to. Another thing I found really useful was having shared control groups options in the interface in Dota 2, which basically allows you to do a command holding in control. So if you want to cancel all the poofs you just did, you can click Control and S or Control and H for hold. The main thing about getting this Blink Dagger technique to work is just practice and repetition. It's not gonna come by you thinking more about it, you just have to get into it and do some poofing and Blink Daggering. That's the only way it's gonna work. And you shouldn't let anyone demotivate you or letting deaths demotivate you. You're gonna die trying. I died a lot trying. Therefore, all I have to say is go do it, go practice it, and it's gonna come with time. Now I'm gonna leave you with a few examples of the Blink Dagger technique and just Meepo owning basically. Thank you all for watching. I hope this guide will be useful for you. Good luck and see you in matchmaking. This was N0tail from Fnatic EU. Have a nice day.
I know it's